heat may begin to feel as though what is happening now must be understood. Before it can settle, an appearance arises, and almost immediately an attempt is made to determine what it means. This attempt does not wait for the appearance to unfold. It moves ahead of it, organizing what is present into something that can be described. Through this organization, what is happening becomes less immediate and more structured. Instead of remaining a sensation or perception, it is placed within a framework that attempts to account for why it is there. This framework suggests that what is appearing now has a cause, and that its presence can be explained through reference to something that has already been understood. But the cause is not found within the appearance itself. It is inferred through interpretation, assigning relation between what is present and what has been described before. The sense that something must be understood in order to settle depends on how quickly what is happening is converted into something that can be explained. Without this conversion, there may be no immediate sense that anything is incomplete. What is appearing would remain as it is without needing to be placed within an already existing description. But once explanation begins, the appearance is no longer encountered directly. It becomes something interpreted rather than something experienced. As explanation is assigned to what is appearing, the mind may begin to treat the appearance as something that has already been accounted for. What was initially unfamiliar is no longer simply present, but interpreted as belonging to a known category. Through this categorization, what is happening now becomes less immediate and more conceptual. Instead of remaining a sensation or perception, it is translated into description, and this description replaces direct contact. The appearance is no longer met as it is, but approached through what is already known about it. This translation creates distance, and within this distance, a sense of understanding begins to form. It may feel as though what is happening has been grasped or resolved, but what has been grasped is not the appearance itself. It is the explanation assigned to it. The impression that something has been clarified depends on how what is present is converted into something that can be described. Once description replaces direct contact, what is happening may begin to feel as though it has already been settled. The need to remain with what is present diminishes because what is present has been translated into something that can be recognized. Recognition provides orientation, and within this orientation, what was initially uncertain may begin to feel manageable. But what has been managed is not the appearance itself. It is the interpretation assigned to it. The mind may begin to relate not to what is appearing, but to what has been said about it. Through this relation, the original contact becomes secondary, and what remains primary is the description used to organize it. The appearance is no longer encountered as sensation, but as reference to something already known. What once appeared directly may begin to seem mediated by explanation, and this mediation creates the impression that what is happening has already been resolved. Without this mediation, there may be no immediate sense that anything has changed. As mediation becomes familiar, the act of interpreting may begin to go unnoticed. Explanation is no longer experienced as something being applied to what is present, but as something inherent to it. The description appears inseparable from the appearance itself. Through this inseparability, what is happening seems to arrive already understood. The distinction between what is present and what is said about it begins to dissolve. What remains is a unified impression that the experience has meaning built into it. But this meaning depends on the continuity of interpretation relating what is present to what has been described before. Without this continuity, there may be no immediate sense that anything is changed. As mediation becomes familiar, the act of interpreting may begin to go unnoticed. Explanation is no longer experienced as something being applied to what is present, but as something inherent to it. The description appears inseparable from the appearance itself. Through this inseparability, what is happening seems to arrive already understood. The distinction between what is present and what is said about it begins to dissolve. What remains is a unified impression that the experience has meaning built into it. But this meaning depends on the continuity of interpretation, relating what is present to what has been described before. Without this continuity, there may be no immediate sense that anything has changed. As experience becomes something to be processed, the need to remain present with what is happening may begin to diminish. What is appearing is no longer simply there, but becomes material for evaluation. The mind may begin to determine whether what is happening aligns with what is expected or understood. Through this determination, what is present is measured against what has already been described. The result of this measurement suggests that experience must conform to an existing explanation in order to be acceptable. But what is being accepted is not the appearance itself. It is the interpretation assigned to it. The appearance becomes secondary to the framework used to organize it. And through this organization, direct contact is replaced by conceptual alignment. Conceptual alignment may begin to feel like stability. When what is happening matches what has already been described, there is a sense that things are making sense. This sense of coherence provides reassurance, and within this reassurance, the need to question interpretation begins to fade. But the coherence depends on maintaining the same explanatory structure across different appearances. Each time what is present is translated into something familiar, the structure is reinforced. The mind may begin to trust not what is appearing, but the explanation used to organize it. Through this trust, interpretation becomes the primary mode of contact, and what is present is encountered through the lens of what is already known. Encountering experience through what is already known creates continuity between different moments. What is happening now is related to what has been described before, and through this relation a sequence appears. The sequence suggests that something is unfolding in a predictable way, and this predictability creates orientation. But the orientation depends on relating each appearance to an existing explanation. Without this relation, there may be no immediate sense that anything is progressing or developing. The appearance would remain as it is without implying movement or direction. But once it is placed within a sequence, what is present becomes part of a narrative that extends beyond direct perception. As narrative begins to organize different appearances into a sequence, the impression of development may begin to form. What is happening now is interpreted as emerging from what has already been explained, and leading toward what will be explained next. Through this interpretation, experience becomes something that unfolds across time. But what is unfolding is not directly perceived. It is the result of relating different interpretations to one another. The sense that something is becoming something else depends on how each appearance is described in relation to the last. Without this relation, there may be no immediate sense that anything is changing. Change may begin to feel real as interpretation, maintains continuity across different situations. Each appearance is translated into something that fits within an existing explanation. And through this fitting, the impression of duration begins to form. What is happening now seems connected to what has happened before. But the connection is not found within the appearance itself. It is assigned through interpretation relating one description to another. The appearance becomes evidence of continuity rather than something encountered directly. As continuity is maintained, the narrative may begin to feel self-evident. What is happening appears to confirm what has already been explained, and this confirmation reinforces the explanatory structure. Through reinforcement, interpretation becomes less noticeable. The mind may begin to assume that experience arrives already meaningful. But the meaning depends on how what is present is related to what has been described before. Without this relation, there may be no immediate sense that anything is unfolding across time. When interpretation is not immediately relating what is present to what has been described before, the appearance may begin to feel less structured. Without description, there may be no immediate indication that anything belongs to a sequence. What is happening would remain as it is without implying progression or development. The sense that something is unfolding may begin to soften, and what once appeared continuous may begin to seem less extended across different situations. What remains when interpretation is not organizing? What is present into relation with what has been described before may not suggest movement in the same way. The appearance is no longer approached as something that must be understood or explained. It is simply there without acquiring context. Without assigning sequence to what is happening, there may be no immediate sense that anything has been progressing across time. What once appeared to be development may begin to seem less defined as duration, and what once implied continuity may no longer suggest extension beyond what is currently perceived.